Hello, beautiful light-filled souls. So happy to be here with Mike Krysiuk, who is a near-death experiencer and author and has just a really phenomenal motivational story to tell. His book is coming out and it is called The Big One. This month it is out. And I'm really excited to talk with him because I think his story will be heartwarming to so many people and motivational. So Mike, how are you? So nice to meet you.
Doing great. It's really great, and I'm really that you're taking interest in this. I'm just really happy. That's why I wrote it. Really.
Yeah, I know, to reach people. And I have to ask, since I've never met you in person, the title of the book, The Big One, what is that about?
That is a nickname. See, like I was always taller than everybody else. I'm 6'4", and I was like 6 feet when I was 12 years old. I was tall. I'm not that big. I was tall. And my cousins next door, they call me, like, we played basketball, and they call me, hey, big one, the big one, pass to the big one. And then just caught on. Then I just went to school, and then the friends, and big one, hey, how you doing? Like, it's like this childhood nickname.
I like it. I like it. And you were very athletic and you were scouted, right, for a major team. Is that correct?
Baseball.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So you were 17, and when I read the chapter in the book about the accident, I almost get re-traumatized because I was in a car accident myself that nearly took my life and did take it for a moment. And so I can identify with what you went through and the pain. I don't like to spend too much time in that area, but I do want you to recount it for people if you don't mind. Just tell them somewhat about the accident. You were 17 and what happened.
I was 17. We were playing basketball. Oh no, we were not playing basketball. I'm missing sports here. I was playing baseball, and my friends and they wanted to do I fell behind in schoolwork, and I had to hand it in the next day. So I had it all done, ready to hand it in the next day, so I could play, graduate. Because I let senior in high school, I partied and I let things go. I figured I worked hard for 11 years. 12th year, I just forget it. That's what I did. I fell into the wrong crowd, and that night, my friends talked me into. I stayed I went with my friends and Triumph GT6. He had a Triumph GT6, a little two-seater hardtop, and they taught me, oh, come on, Mike, we're just go. I'm not going to have anything to drink. I'm not going to have anything to drink because I can't go home with booze on my breath. My father and my mother will kill me. And I said, okay, we can just come along for the ride. All right, if you get me home right away. So I went up to Vista, New York with them, as we live in Westport, and Vista's right through, you got to go through Norwalk, and it's right over the line there. And so we bought some beer. They threw down some beer. I just said, okay, and then we all said, I got to get home. Come on, Ted. So Ted and I just got in his car, and we sped off. He had a Triumph GT6. And the car was pumped up for speed. He was heading down the road. I looked at the speedometer. It's between 90 and 100. And, the telephone poles look like a picket fence. I used my choice of language to tell him to slow the car down. He goes to hit the gears lock. Hits the brake space lock. Went to a skid, went for a big pile of dirt and big black shadow. We hit the pile of dirt. I had a reaction. You have nothing to hold on to in the passenger side in a car. I put my legs on the dashboard to brace myself. I went to a ball and clenched my jaw. But it just out of reflex. So now I picture my head, jaw getting torn off. Everything, just keep everything together. And we hit the pile of dirt. We within the black shadow. Black shadow was a bulldozer. They don't move. From the headlight, on the way the car hit the bulldozer, hit the light from the headlight on the driver's side to where the driver with the doors all pushed in. I was lucky the doctor said I put my legs on the dashboard. If I didn't, I would have lost both legs at the sockets, engine bottom of my seat. Then that started my journey coming back.
Right. And so you had massive injuries by the time you were at the hospital. And that portion in the book where I was reading, where your father was told that you may not make it that night and that you'd never be the same, that must have been profoundly difficult for him. What was the experience that you had in a coma? Because to me, it sounds like you had real experiences of hearing people's voices who were in the room while you're in the coma, but then you also had an afterlife experience. Could you tell me first, like what you heard in the coma?
Yes, well, I heard in coma, like I heard voices, and I heard people talking in my room. I heard nurses talking, doing conversations, and I heard my sister, my dad say the rosary to me, and he read me the sport page every day. I was in the coma, he'd come every day, and he'd read me the sport page. And just, I'm there, he'd talk to me, tell me this and the other. Funny thing, I even remember a conversation nurses had about a boyfriend she just dumped that night. And I go, when I was able to talk, I said, so how's your ex-boyfriend? He goes, what? The one you just dumped last night. Because in a coma, you have no sense of time. And it's
fascinating.
Like,
so it was like just recent.
Yeah, I thought it happened 6 weeks ago.
Wow. So you had this feeling, it sounds like, of being trapped in your body, but you could hear things. And that's what being in the coma was like. What was the moment like where you felt a transcendence, or you felt perhaps that you connected with God? Or could you tell me a little bit of the life review and your connection in the near-death experience?
Yes, I was going to different parts of my life. Like I was at dances. I was at playing baseball. I was playing basketball. I was at work or I was a busboy. I was there. I was talking to my friends. I was out partying with my friends. I was at dances, and I was never a big girl with a girl, with women. I was always like, yeah, big tough guy, but my tongue would always swell, and I couldn't talk, couldn't get it out, and I had a first kiss, and I was really getting confused, but I kept running towards a light. I saw a light, now it was all brightly lit around me. I was on a field of green grass. I was running. So there was no sun in front of me, so the sun would be behind me. But then there was no shadow on the ground in front of me. I don't know why, I just kept running.
Did you feel like that light was God? So did you feel like you were running towards home? Did you feel like more at peace going towards that light?
I felt, that's like the pot of God. It's like where the money, that's where what did he say? I'm looking for the word here. For the celebration of being there, it's going to happen. Yes, I get there. I'm going to get there. And God and my guardian angel, everybody else is pushing me on, telling me on. Keep me, Mike, don't give up. And I didn't.
So there was a sense of elation or power in running towards the light.
Yes.
And what did you hear? Because I think I read somewhere that you heard a certain phrase about from God in that place. Shoot for the sun, and if you end up in the stars.
Shoot for the sun in everything you do. Because even if you miss, you land among the stars. And that is a great place to be. And that is what I live by. Now, I heard it. It's like, shoot for the sun. I tell everybody, shoot for the sun in everything you do. Because if you miss, you land among the stars. And that is a great place to be.
And so many people keep their eyes to the ground, I think, in life, or feel like they can't even look up to a star, much less the sun. And so that power from the other side that infuses us is so profound. And it sounds like you had that message. And then you also had another message of, were you living in people's shadows?
Yes. God even said, Mike, get out of the shadows. Don't walk in people's shadows. I did. I got lost in those shadows. I almost lost my life.
Yeah. So what do you think that means? I always feel like there are metaphors on the other side. What do you think that was a metaphor for?
What do you mean a metaphor?
Well, like a metaphor for, if you're walking in people's shadows, then you're not being true to your authentic self, or you're living in fear.
Your own course. Like you're not finding your own light going shooting for the sun. You're not on that course. You're on somebody else's. You're riding shotgun, backseat, in the trunk, or riding on the back holding a rope and a skateboard. It's like, you're not going to get there.
Right. So Tell us how severe your injuries were. So when you came out of coma, what had happened to your body?
Well, the night of the accident, I had a brain fracture. And they had, on a scale of 1 to 10, doctor gave it about a 12 or 13. That's how bad I was. The mirror, I felt my face explode. When I was closing my ball, but I felt my face explode. The mirror on the passenger, the mirror, the review mirror, flew off, hit me across the face. Top of the skull, went right down my face like this, and cut my ear into 3 pieces. I have no plastic surgery, no, they just taped me up that night, no scars. I have a little one here on my lip, but that's it. It was right across, right down between my eyes, and I ended up cutting my left ear in 3 pieces. They just taped me together to save my life that night. And like, I found out later, my sister told me that, you know, the doctor said, told daddy that, told my dad that, be prepared, your son's not gonna make it. And that's the emergency room doctor. That's your last ray of hope there from the hospital. He's supposed to be your savior. But it's like he's shutting the door on me. But my dad kept his faith. My family kept their faith. My mother, my father, and my sister. And all my cousins know. But that night, it was just, you know.
And they saved you at some point, didn't they? Did your sister get involved and somehow save you?
Yes. When I was conscious, and I had a trach to help breathe, so you know, let me tell you, the day of the accident, I had a physical. I was 185 pounds, 6 foot 4 inches tall. 6 weeks later, when I come out of the coma, I was 6'6", because your body stretches when you're sleeping. And your body stretches. And I had no muscles holding together. I went down to 66 pounds. My arm, if you see my arm here, my arms are bigger, got more muscle than what my legs had. And everything pulled. My cords, everything. I was like this. My hands were like this for a long time. I was like, it pulled all the cords in, pulled my feet, you know, the cord in the back of your foot, pull it straight. I was a wreck. You could have folded me up and put me in a basket.
Wow. And how rare is it for a quadriplegic to recover from a traumatic brain injury like that?
Well, I heard over 98% of the people who had what I had, their next step was the graveyard.
So how did you get through that? It sounds like incredibly difficult. It sounds, did you feel like you had help from the other side? What motivated you?
Well, my dad helped me, and through that, my God had them help me through him. And I feel, yeah, because like God always, he gave me that inspiration to keep going, keep shooting for it, keep going for it. Because he never let me feel negative. My parents and my sister never said anything negative around me. Anything negative at all. Like, everything's gonna be positive. Couldn't do it today, I do it the next day. I'm gonna keep trying to do it. Every snap, you know. When I snapped my fingers, I couldn't snap my fingers. I snapped my fingers. I was playing rocks with my fingers. So when I got in, I did everything. Everything I did was like the next level up. I was just like climbing the ladder, and it was very steep. Very, very steep.
It sounds that way. How long did it take to recover?
Well, I was only in the hospital for about 7 months. But Gaylord gets you to a point. I went from Norwalk Hospital to Gaylord Hospital in Wallingford, Connecticut, which is a great rehab hospital. They get to the point where you can work. You know, I left there in a wheelchair, but I walked back in. I left there in a wheelchair because like I went bowling in a wheelchair. I went out to the restaurant in a wheelchair. I went to the movies in a wheelchair. I went fishing. They take you fishing in the wheelchair on freshwater fishing. You're on the shore, but you're having a great day. You're experiencing life, not to the degree I used to be able to, but to the degree I was able to. I had to adjust my my oh, what's the word I'm looking for here? I had to adjust my what my priorities were. It was lower, but what I did, I took what I did wasn't so good. I made that my expertise, and what I couldn't do anymore, I just threw it away. You know, it was like a remake of my life.
Fascinating. Do you think that the experience, the afterlife experience, helped you do that? Do you feel like you had strength and power from that light that helped guide you through the recovery?
Absolutely.
Were you
Absolutely.
were you a believer in God before, or
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
did you find that this strengthened your faith?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So, it's been 40 years since your accident, and since that time, and you're finally putting your story out there. I'm wondering, how does that feel to
It
put it out
feels
there finally?
like a giant elephant onto taken off my back. I think I had to meet the right people and go through everything I went through before I couldn't just jump into this, go, okay. And that's it. Like I said, I had the accident, therapy, exactly, okay, that's it. 3-page story, that's it. No, because it's a story I wanted to just get across to people showing, don't give up. You have to never say never. It's like, never's a long time. When they came in and said, Mike, you're never going to walk in. I said, no. I would say, when I would say it, I say, I've been playing basketball. A good example of shooting for the sun and landing on the stars. When I was in the hospital in Gaylord, I'd talk to people and they say, wait, what are you doing? When are you thinking to go? Well, this summer, I'll be playing basketball. I'll be playing baseball with you guys. And they said, oh my, don't relax. I wasn't playing that. I was out of the hospital. So you
Oh,
shoot the sun, but you accept lower grades, but you don't stop. You're still climbing up. You just, okay, come back. Not yet. Okay. God said, not yet, Mike. You got to do a little more. Strengthen this, strengthen that. You got to do a little more. You're my guardian angel. I know how you must have given that guardian angel some workout. Whew.
so how did you regain? I think I read on your website that you took acting classes and maybe dance classes too. Did that help you regain some of your mobility?
If you ever see a guy 6'4", I tap danced. I was no Gene Kelly, but I had my picture in my head, and I had fun. I was clicking around there, and I had a good time. And I really, where I took the classes, it was good. It was good, and I wrote a lot of songs, and I wrote a song, The Big One, and that was when I go play little parties and stuff. That'd be a big. They asked for that song because it's a part where the audience is the chorus.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
It's
But
raining here. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but one thing that fascinates me is an experience like that makes you grow up very fast. How did you incorporate it into your life? Because you fell in love, you got married, you had kids. Like, how did you incorporate that experience into the rest of your life?
well, I'd incorporate. I tried to. It's something that's always going to be there. But people say, "Oh, he's handicapped." No, look at me now. I'm walking. I'm doing this. Yeah. But people, they have the blinders on, and that's tough. I try to take those blinders off and just say, "Come on, look at me, talk to me, not to my past person." Because I understand. Like when I felt loneliness. It's like your friends don't come around like they used to. I don't blame them for that. It's like, what do you think? You were the guy you playing basketball, baseball, your baseball buddy. What's he gonna say? How you doing? He sees me there. I'm laying down, sitting there. He can't walk. How's he doing? He's doing terrible. No, I'm doing good. I'm breathing. I'm living. Just come on, play cards or something. A half an hour. or just tell me what's going on the outside, because I'll be back there soon. So just watch out for me. I'll be back there.
I love that attitude. And I totally understand because you were 17, I was 22 when I had my accident. And I say that there was a range of friends. The friends that I kept, some were intellectually, my friends were in college together. So we stayed in contact, but there were party friends who I lost along the way. So there were some people you lose. Then there were ranges of maturity. And you probably had some people who you realize, okay, they have a maturity or a depth that they can stick with me. And
Yeah,
did you
that's
have
it.
some people who were able to stick?
Oh, some people, yes, they were. My cousins, and my cousins, like come my friends, but the people that I used to see, they said, don't bother. He's a cripple now. Well, I don't do what I used to do. I don't cliff dive. Does that make me cripple?
I love your attitude of focus on what is the light and what is good and what is still here and what is still possible, because that's
Yes.
how I felt too. And whenever doctors hear about my accident, a lot of times they'll say, oh, what a shame, you were so athletic and you were 22. And I go, oh no, it's not a shame at all. I learned so much from that. I learned that there's an afterlife. I learned that we're loved and supported from the afterlife. I learned that I have a mission here on earth, and I'm sure you feel like you were given a mission, right?
Yeah. Like I go after what I want to do. Like I've acted on TV. I was in a film with Leonardo DiCaprio was starred in Revolutionary Road. I was in that too, and I was in Law and Order on TV, and I figure, yes, I can do this now. I can do it. I was. Here's the good one for you. I was in stage. My most favorite role I ever had. I was Big Julie in Guys and Dolls.
Oh, that's great.
And the funny thing about it is, Big Julie, the director loved my voice because I'm a basso profundo, and he loves my low bass. But Big Julie doesn't sing, doesn't dance in the show at all. Just a character there.
Oh, wow, that's great. Oh,
But,
so now that this book is coming out, the big one, and it's going to be out there for people, what are you hoping that people take away from it? So what are you hoping that you telling your story, how will this motivate people? What effect are you hoping to make in the world?
don't walk in people's shadows, because I did. I got lost in those shadows, and I almost lost my life. And just go for what you want to go for. If people don't like it, okay, but don't hurt anybody, but just go after it. And when you go there, and just keep your head up and shoot for the sun. Shoot for that sun.
Do you have any particular advice for people who are going through difficult times? Because I get letters from people, and you probably will too, people who haven't recovered from their accidents, people who are very ill, people who are in bad marriages, people who are going through financial downturns. So, there's a world of suffering out there, mental illness and physical illness. When you get those letters, which you will by putting a book out there, what's your advice for people who are suffering?
You've got to take, like what I had to do. I took everything I had left, which wasn't much, put it in a basket. And I said, I'm going to start with this. I'm going to build from that. I took a branch here, from this part of my life, a branch, a leaf from this part of my life, another branch, a twig from this, and a brick, a stone, a rock. And I tried to build a new model of myself. And I made what I couldn't do before, what I just, as I said before earlier, what I just took for granted, I made and wasn't really involved with, I made that my strong point. And what I couldn't do anymore, I forgot. How can you be handicapped in something you don't do anymore?
Yeah, that's powerful. That's really, really powerful that just focusing on what is there and what is good is the starting point for so much. And yeah, I've talked with people who are in jail. I've talked with people who are suffering in profound ways, but there's always hope. There's always the next thing that you can do. There's always hope. And I think that your message of hope is a really beautiful one. I'm curious, like about the time span. How long do you think it took for you to integrate the experience? Like they say with near-death experiencers, it takes about 25 years. Do you feel like when you look back, does that 25-year mark ring true, or do you think it took longer or a shorter amount of time for you to feel like, okay, I'm complete with this?
I don't think you ever become complete, because there's one thing you get: your memory. You're always going to say, hold it. I'm glad I'll never forget this. As if I see somebody, it comes to me and asks me, Mike, you had trouble with your leg. What did you do with that? What kind of exercise did you do? I'll remember. I'll give them that. Or I can't do this with my arm anymore. I'll try doing this. And just go about attack. In the football, you have attacking dummies. Attack the dummy in a different angle. Go at the goal. Take a left turn or take a right turn. But get there.
So sometimes I'm asked in interviews, and this is a tough question. This isn't gonna be my last question, but a lot of times critics and skeptics will ask me, well, how do you know this just wasn't your brain shutting down? How do you know that this was real? How do you know you connected with God and the angels? And I always say, I was energetically changed and my consciousness was different outside of my body. There was a real consciousness change for that. And each individual walks their own path. How would you answer that question if someone said, well, how do you know that this just wasn't a coma and this wasn't just your brain playing tricks on you?
I say, read my book and just find out what I went through. See how bad I was. He's got the whole thing right there. If God wanted to take me, he could have taken me right away. But he said, no, he wanted to see if I was fighter enough, if I could come back and fight through that. And I would be a good example for anybody who just want to give up on life. Go ahead, give up. What about Mike? Look at Mike. Look how old Mike was. He came out of it. We're looking for like red roses and barrelhead root beer at the end of the line. No, we're looking for, come on. Live your life, not somebody else's.
I love that answer. That's beautiful. And how is your life today? Tell us a little bit about it. You're married, right? And you're...
Yes, I'm married now. My best friend.
Aww.
She even laughs at my jokes.
Well, your jokes are pretty good.
You talked to her before, right? No. And my kids, I'm a grandfather. I have 2 grandsons and a granddaughter. They live in Florida, but they're happy. I don't live in Connecticut, but they're happy. Life is put together funny. You gotta live it. So you just gotta, you flow with it, and you gotta make the best out of every moment you have.
And you certainly have, and that really comes across in just talking to you briefly. Have you read other near-death experience accounts? Are you familiar with them?
Well, I hear about them, but I don't sit there and read about them. I don't want to go through what other people went through. I feel what I went through, it's, God wanted me to follow this course. I'm not going to follow their course. I'm going to follow my own course, the one God puts me on.
Right. And what do you see the future of this story? What would you like to see happen?
I like to see this book take off, and people read this book and they get enough out of it, and they learn from it. And this all started before the book. I sat down with Julia and we wrote a screenplay for a movie. And I'd love to see that get made, because that would show how it truly happened. What happens when you walk in people's shadows and get lost. And you don't think for yourself. And you try to be part of the crowd. Heck with the crowd.
Exactly. And images are so powerful and profound for people. Sometimes we connect more with that. And that idea of you as the 17-year-old boy really sticks in my mind. You know, it's a life-changing event, and the part of the book that I read, your accident and your time in the hospital, was powerfully written. So congratulations on that, and congratulations on getting that elephant off your back, as you said, and really just getting this out into the world so that people can be more motivated in their lives. And I think every person, and there's so many of us now, you know, there's millions of near-death experiencers, and you know, some have really extended periods in the afterlife, and you know, some have stories where they really have no physical illness. You know, it's just, you know, a moment in time. And then other people have great physical illness that they've had to overcome. And certainly your tale on that physical level is profound. And how complete was your recovery? That'll be my last question.
Well, I'm able to do like I said, I mean, took what I was not so good at and made that my strong points. It's just, you make your adjustments in life. I'm not going to play baseball anymore, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm 63, but I'm happy now. I can act.
Cool.
I can sing. I can sing. I write songs. I can write songs. Write music. I don't shoot anything down. I give everything a shot. I never say never. Gotta just go for it. Shoot for the sun.
I love it. And I totally understand that. You know, like I just started a yoga practice, and because I have huge rods in my back, there are certain poses I'll never do. But hey, I'm going to enjoy the poses I can do and get something out of it. You know, it's a
better.
beautiful.
And then you say, hey, I never saw that pose. That's fantastic pose.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure back is so straight.
You never know.
Exactly. And then it might encourage more people with physical limitations to keep doing yoga, because it's a beautiful practice. And I think that's that joy of just embracing life.
Yeah. You know, find your special niche and go for it. It's yours. You know, nobody can take it away.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Mike, for talking with me today. And below, I will post the links to his book, which is launching soon. And thank you, my community, for listening in. I'll have more interviews this month, but I really appreciate your heart and soul and your good energy, Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tricia.